This is pretty interesting. You know, I came out of the box here a couple of days ago. I put that first video on. This is BHAGWAN Sri Ramakrishna Siva, Tantric Mystic Warrior Master, here to save the world. How the heck are we going to do that? Well, this thing is going to allow it. And I just figured out a way to put it on my dashboard so it'll be right in front of me. I can drive safely and talk to you guys. The first tip I did was 1 hour and 15 minutes. I had to put it on YouTube in 15-minute pieces because I didn't realize that. So I'm going to try and hold this one down to under 15 minutes. We're going to do little vignettes. Now, several years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I explained to him I had 1,000 books to write, and I can't tell you how many of them I started. Problem is, books are laborious. You got all that editing, and you can only do so much. I'm typing. I'm not a good typist. But this thing, this miracle, is going to let me talk to you. I've been thinking about what do I want to talk to you about, because I'm here to help you make your life better. I'm going to go after really heavy-duty stuff, because I'm not worth much unless I can do some heavy-duty stuff to you, right? I'm going to talk to all you folks who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Mostly I'm directing this at warriors, but it's also for anybody who's been injured so bad that they carry it with them, that it causes their life to suck because something happened to them in the past. So I'm going to share some ideas with you, and they may be difficult for you to comprehend because you're not taught this kind of stuff. You haven't been taught a lot that would have let you be free, simply because the system doesn't want you to be free. It wants you to be indebted and endowed with what's going on so you can support the damn thing. Your churches are rich, your people are starving. What the hell is that? Well, it is what it is. So here's the deal. You've been forever. You're a mystical life force, and this is the time of the Great Awakening. It means all of us are going to become healed inside, internally. It's going to free up all this loving energy that radiates throughout the world, and all of a sudden it's just going to get better. And when it gets better, life will be better for everyone. You'll help, other people will help, the system will help. We'll kind of all get in line, and it'll fall in. So here's some things that you don't want to hear. Because you've been forever, you are a culmination and an accumulation of many lifetimes of events that have formed and shaped what you are. Obviously, the biggest of that is your current life, the one that you're up to your ears in, and this is where most of the people who are suffering derive that from. And some of you guys are suffering old stuff, but we'll deal with that later. This is now. Your life sucks. You get up in the morning, you have memories that haunt you. This is true for warriors, you know. Some of you poor bastards had your best friend blown up and blown all over you. You had him in your mouth, you had him in your eyes and in your ears, and you cannot get that goddamn thing out of your eyes or your face because it's not that easy to do, is it? So now I'm going to share something with you. Every one of you, it's your job to help me save the world. Remember we talked about this earlier. I'm just this old man. What the hell can one old man do? Well, lots, guys, lots. And one of the things I can do, I can help your life get better. And if your life gets better, then you can do more to help make this thing happen. So, let's say you're one of those men or women who suffered that unbelievable trauma of being in a place where someone you love dearly has been blown up right in front of you, or maybe you've been blown up. You're missing some parts that they took away from you because the IUD you stepped on only got your right leg and part of your side and your arm and didn't get all of you. So now you're hobbling around and you're living with that tragedy, that trauma. And most of you, your heads are screwed. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're doing. Why would God do something like that to you? I mean, Jesus Christ, you're his son, you're his daughter. Why would he be so mean? And the answer is to make you aware. So, number one, everything that happened to you was absolutely necessary to get you to this moment in time where I'm talking to you and I'm giving you an opportunity to take a giant step. First, you got to make it okay. How the hell do you do that? Well, number one, understand that you've been forever. And that this is just part of the lessons that you had to learn to maybe get you so pissed off with the system that you'll actively take a part in changing it. Our government sucks. All the governments suck, especially the ones of the warrior nations. You know, some of those places that have been neutral or so small that nobody bothers with them, they don't have the problems that people in the United States and Russia and China and Korea and God knows where else. There's Vietnam. I was in Vietnam. It still saddens me that we bailed out on those people. Even though that just would have meant that the war would have continued and more Vietnamese people in the North would have had to die to make it right. All this war stuff, all this territorial stuff, it's about killing each other. We need to stop doing that. So, the way you're going to help make this happen is, I want you to get pissed off at what happened to you. And I want you to understand that it only happened to you because your leadership put you there. They deemed that it was necessary for you, who maybe was a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17. Sent him out into some jungle or some desert and said, here, go kill people. They're regular people just like you. They put their pants on the same way. They go to the bathroom the same way. They cry, they love, they grieve. Well, go kill a few of them. And some of you guys, man, you wear your battle stripes. You know, I still have friends that literally boast about the Vietnamese that they killed during the Vietnam War. And you can see the anguish. They're just little boys who don't know how to deal with it, don't know why they had to do with it. Only a handful of people really relish killing. There's reasons for that. It has to do with warrior stuff and testing who you are, et cetera, all of that stuff. But your situation is that you can't live with it. And the reason is because it has no purpose. I'm going to give you a purpose. Start being angry at what they made you do. Stop, you know, I was just at the VA hospital today. Oh, I got a miracle today, I got to tell you. You know, I'm this old guy, got all kinds of problems, especially lung problems, breath problems. And I was really concerned that I was on a short clock. And today my doctor, wonderful man at the VA hospital named Dr. Butt, no joke intended, is a beautiful man. He spent an hour and 20 minutes with me. We went all over my medical history. And he said, you know, Bob, it looks like, all things considered, you might have as much as 10 years left. Whoa. You realize what a gift that is? When you think you're on, your clock is ticking and somebody says you got 10? 10's a long time. Not in the big picture of things, but in reality, it's a long time. These men, these poor wounded rascals, are still anguishing over what happened during their war. And the reason is because there's no purpose to it. If you were there to help the Vietnamese government like my war, and all of a sudden your country bails out and abandons them. You know, I see those pictures of the Vietnamese who were involved with us trying to get on those last helicopters, and they got that fence shut and said, no, you guys ain't coming in here. You're not going to do that. And because you're not going to do that, you know there's a damn good chance that when those North Vietnamese guys come in, these people are going to be killed. Or at least subjected to a whole lot of crap that they shouldn't have been subjected to. So, what you want to try and be with is that if you can get angry enough at them, it'll cause you to have a shift in your consciousness and how you view the world and how you view what we did. And maybe if you did that, you'll start to realize that all us guys together could end it. Could start making our leaders and our generals and all the rest of the people who are involved in the wholesale death of other people to lighten up. Start being civilized human beings instead of the animals that we are. When you know, I remember in Cambodia, you know, it was actually the North Vietnamese who put those guys down. Pol Pot and his Khmer Rouge. He took little kids. Yeah, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old, gave him an AK-47 and said, go out and kill everybody who's smart. It'll just be us stupid kids running around with big guns. And they killed, conservative estimate, 10 million Cambodians. 10 million people. And we lost 50,000 during the Vietnamese War. I think the death toll in the Middle East is much lighter, you know, 8 or 10,000 people. And I mean, that's horrible, but nonetheless, a lighter toll. Korea, World War II, bigger things. So a lot of you guys are living with, you know, horrible memories. Let go of them. Start being with the idea that they were purposeful. They were necessary for you to get to the point to where finally, after all that bullshit and all that bravado and all that macho that you put on while you were a warrior, it's all nonsense. It keeps young men in the mindset that says killing is cool. It's not. Even beating and brutalizing people ain't cool, but killing definitely isn't cool. So, what you do, and I'm not saying this is easy because you've been anguishing with this stuff now, you shift. Start talking about what if we didn't all support the goddamn war? What if every time some congressman and these guys, now granted we got some warriors in there, but a whole lot of those guys never been tested. Just educated out the ass. They've read 10,000 books. They don't know shit. They've never been tested. Silver spoon guys, a lot of rich kids in political places. Because mama and daddy got money, they want to make sure the guy has an easy go. And we don't want him getting in war. Leave that for the poor guys. I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I don't think I met a single rich guy. I know they were there. Every now and then a rich guy says, that's, what we're doing is not right. We need to actually bite a slice of life off, and it's not in some mansion, going to some fancy ass college, living with a monthly stipend of $5,000 just so you won't be taxed. Start being with the idea that it was necessary to beat you up the way you got beat up, so that you would finally be able to develop the anger that would let you change who you are from the aggressive, warmongering shit that you were when all this stuff happened to you, to a man of conscience who says everything we did was wrong. You can't change it, but if anybody with a brain would know, man, this was wrong, this wasn't what we were supposed to be doing. I'm kind of concerned 15-minute slots are going to not work. We're going to have to play with that. This is the first one. This is an experiment. I think I'm going to put it out anyhow. Why would I edit? I'm just here to feed you with stuff, and you're there to decide whether or not I know anything or not. And we'll see. I checked my first video. I got 68 hits, but it's really early. Nobody knows. There's no advertisement. I got nobody pushing for me. But slowly but surely, I see that as an incremental thing, and I'm going to keep you abreast of it. By the time we hit 1 million, and I promise you we will have already started the process of changing the world consciously. Make the world aware of the fact we don't want to kill people anymore. And it's wherever you live. If you're a Chinese guy, China's prospering. God, compared to where it was, backward country, peasants everywhere. Now there's educated people, there's industry, there's pollution. All those are the cost of industry, aren't they? But nonetheless, China, Russia, these are affluent societies. They're just like us. Their big cities are just like ours. Their farms are just like ours. And yet we manage to keep it in our mind that there's a difference. That in some way, we do things differently. We think differently. That's why they don't want you to think about the guys you're fighting, because you'll start seeing them as human beings, and then you won't be able to kill them. You see them as the other guys, as the enemy. The only enemies are the political systems that keep us in this fucking mess that we're in. You need to start getting your, who are we talking about? All the guys, all the guys in those places, start making them accountable. Remember I was talking about the people, all you guys who really can't do anything because you're just so beat up it's not possible for you to do it? I want you to use the post office. I mentioned that. Start mailing letters to your congressmen and senators, and here's what I'd like you to say. Short note. Please help BHAGWAN save the world. Stop the killing. Exclamation point. Maybe 7. Put 7 exclamation points. So they know you're talking about each center of consciousness. Across the spectrum, stop killing people. If we do that, a pressure's going to mount. You got all these warmonger guys, don't elect them. Stop electing them. They're the problem. Oh, we got to keep ourselves strong. We are so strong we could defeat 15 times the other guys that are out there. And so could Russia. And I'm kind of sure so could China. That's how many weapons are out there. But none of those weapons need to be deployed ever. It was done twice in Japan. It was a horrible thing, I knew a young woman who lost an eye at Hiroshima. And